our next guest. It's Dr. Paresh Joshi, Academy Director, Station eLanguage Lab.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Incidentally, we've just one lady and a lot of gentlemen here. I represent Station eLanguage Laboratory. It's promoted by Station E Info Services Private Limited. And I'm going to discuss skills development initiatives for boosting employability. Incidentally, to share a secret, before he gave me the mic, putting the mic off, he asked me a question: how many minutes are going to take? And I would demonstrate my time management skills. I would keep myself as brief as I can. I would not overshoot 15 minutes. That's something that I've set for myself. And that brings instant smiles on the faces sitting here. Thank you very much for those smiles. This is an interesting statement with which I begin what I have to say. It was a document published by World Bank. Very interestingly, it says that as countries become richer and move up the value-added chain, the skill development requirements would change, and then there would be requirements on, a high cognitive skills like analytical skills, problem solving, and communication skills, and other behavior skills such as discipline and work effort. I think for India as a country, we are looking at economic growth, and for us, this probably is the context. We would require skills which fall into high cognitive skills and behavior skills if we want to see that the productivity increases. A global scenario, when we look at, there is a dearth of skilled workforce. Every single country is facing this problem. As we're growing, as technology is growing, as the world is becoming more and more competent, this issue of skilled workforce is everyone's problem, and we'll have to agree to this. There are some exceptions when we look at it. South Korea, Finland, Singapore especially have invested a huge amount of resources to ensure that skills development is integrated into mainstream education. And they're getting the dividend of the effort that they have put in. As against that, when we look at in the Indian context, we have as many as 48% of employers who are struggling to get skilled workforce. And this is where the problem is. I think we will have to think about promoting our skill development initiatives. When we start looking at skills development in India, I seriously feel it is a notion where everyone agrees to do something for skills development. It is a notion agreed upon but not acted upon. And there's so much of growth in education. We are expanding as far as education is concerned. A lot of self-finance institutions are coming up, and they're improving the quality of education which is delivered in India. We could hear about some wonderful initiatives in hybrid pedagogy and all that. But look at this second point that I'm mentioning here. It is a startling statistics that says, it was given by McKinsey, and this is something where I want all my senior friends to have a look at, because most of you are representing universities. In conventional education or in conventional degree, the employment ratio or the graduates in conventional degree, they are what employment ready are as less as 10%, and that scene improves partially when you go to the technical education, that goes to 15%. Now that means 80%, 85% of our youth which comes out of the higher education are not ready, for employment. They need some training to be able to have, a sensible job done to the given table, to the given role within an organization. I would move on to the next interesting slide. Status of skill development in India. As I was saying, on one side we have startling revelations which say that our graduates are not employable. On the other side, it is a priority, as I said, which is agreed upon. Each one of us talk about skills development. There was not a single presentation here which did not have skill development as one of the areas discussed, if not the central area. But then what are we actually doing? I have a humble submission to all my senior academic here, that we will need to bring the skills development education in the mainstream, in the curriculum. A lot of us try and give skills development when, for example, students are completing their engineering degree. A 15-day workshop is given for developing communication skills. Now, how a student who has struggled to communicate throughout the tenure of his education is going to have, enhanced communication skills in a 15-day or 15-hour-long workshop? I think we will have to start integrating it into the classroom. The students should be aware in the first place. Skills development is a priority, as I said. Skills development has till date remained on the periphery, and that is something that we'll have to accept. We have still not been able to integrate skills development in the curriculum. It remains an add-on, it remains as an add-on course given not by all of the universities. Very few universities probably do this. In order to boost employability, skills development has to be integrated into everyday experience of the students. It has to come to the classroom. It has to come to the classroom along with the core skills which are given or imparted within the campus. Universities, IITs, IIMs and other institutions of repute will have to take the lead here. They have to bring this skills development in the mainstream of the education, in the everyday discussion on the classroom, and that is how they'll play the leading role. Students should be educated about the need of the skills development at the outset at the academic program. A lot of times the students themselves are not aware that they require the skills. They say, give us degrees and we want to go and have employment. A lot of them don't even turn up on the campus, forget about skills development. They don't even want to have education in the classroom. And they say, if you give us degrees, we're happy home. We don't want to get the trouble of listening to our teachers sitting in the classroom. Students' profiling should be carried out at the commencement of a program, and skills deficits should be arrested at the beginning rather than at the end. That's something I referred. Here, the government also has its role. These skills development programs should be generously funded, and rather than red tape, a red carpet approach should be followed. Followed for the skills development. A role of universities. This is where we, as the skills development solutions providers, would request to the university vice chancellor sitting here. We can establish skills development centers on the university campuses, and we have done it. We have done it with GNLU, Gujarat National Law University. We have done it with Kota University, Rajasthan. There is an NIT, for example, National Institute of Technology, UP, Arunachal Pradesh. We have established the skills development center. So universities will have to take lead, and establish skills development center on the campuses, make it available to the students. Along with this, universities should then, guide colleges affiliated to the university to establish such skills development center. This top-bottom approach probably would gradually bring skills development in the mainstream education. The various courses on various skills should be offered. If we want to integrate skills development in the mainstream education, it would not happen without integrating technology and innovation. We'll have to see that the skills development programs are offered with a technology supported approach, and innovative pedagogy should support these initiatives. 21st century skills. Now this is very interesting. Recommendation of key competences for life learning adopted by European Parliament and Council in December 2006. After 5 years of work by experts and civil servants collaborating with an open method of cooperation, it defines 8 key competences, and I'll quickly refer to that. Communications in mother tongue, communication in a foreign language. In Indian case, it would be English. mathematical competence and basic competence in science and technology, digital competence, learning to learn, social and civic competence, sense of initiative and entrepreneurship, cultural awareness and expansion. Now, to conclude, I would simply say that, it's not enough talking about skills development. We will have to bring it to the implementation, and if we want to see that, this demographic dividend that we're poised at the moment, we all talk about it and we know it. If this demographic dividend needs to be, if we want to leverage this demographic dividend, we will have to integrate skills training, skills education in mainstream education. Otherwise, it will become a demographic disaster. If universities require some corporate presence on the campuses for skills development, we're there. We've established as many as 30 skills development centers across 15 states in schools, colleges, ITIs, universities, NITs. With this, I'll conclude. If there's a question, I'd love to respond to that. I'm sure there won't be any question because we're all rushing forward. That is how I have a hurried session. But in case there is a question, I would love to respond to that.
There is no doubt Joshi is right. But
Thank you.
that is one more thing that corporates have understood. The fundamentals of students are almost finished. So what we need are good teachers first.
All right,
in
sir.
schools.
Mhm.
And it starts from there, and then the students who need to be, add skills to whatever. And that is what we have.
But it's the good teachers who will give you those skills. What's happening is that, of course, it may not even be in the curriculum. But even if it's in the curriculum, if you do not have good methods of imparting learning, then these things will never be acquired.
It goes together.
In fact, what we do is, we just don't establish a center, we also train human resource. I mean, we have a stall here, I will not take much time explaining what we are. We're right there, we can have a longer deliberation on how skills development initiatives can be implemented on the universities. Thank you all very much. Yes, sir.
How come our courses yesterday, we skill oriented, suddenly they have become non-skill, and there is a supplementary requirement of skill set training.
True.
The mainstream doesn't offer. The one comment from me is there's only one reason. The skill sets and the quality are synonymous.
Okay.
When the mainstream quality goes down, and naturally skill sets, scarcity comes up. So therefore, it should be more by the practice, how you practice the education, the academic system itself. Every laboratory can be innovation driving.
True.
And every laboratory report tells about how to report, how to write reports. When it is done meaningfully, it is so. In fact, if you talk about a typical engineering curriculum has silently all these features inbuilt into it. When the meaning of the curriculum is lost, when delivery is made with quality lost, all these deficiencies would come up, and a supplementary training on skill sets would come up. And how long would be the supplementary training? If you leave a 4-year engineering program and the practice and skill training in a 4-year period, and trying to, you mentioned about 50, it is very correct, that's what colleges do. And let's say somebody like you coming up and say 4 months, it would be a little more better one, no doubt. What should be done is the whole delivery of the system should be changed. And that's what we try to do in our universities with partial success.
In fact, when we interact with the university officials, we request them to integrate it in a way that there are credits associated. If it is an add-on program, students are not really interested.
I would say that it is already integrated, please do practice.
See, it is partially integrated, I would say. So I would not agree in saying that it is already integrated.
One point,
Yes, sir.
because you are talking about 3 or 4 months training, I think, instead of calling yourself a skill development center, I think better you should call it as skill honing center.
Skill Honing center. All right. I will take that as a suggestion.
Because unless the person is there, he is oriented, then only, unless he has something in him, then only he can hone the skills. That's what I mean.
There is one skill, like the domain skills and the application of the domain.
True.
A mechanical engineer, when he becomes a mechanical engineer, what kind of capabilities, skills does he have? Does he have machine design capabilities or only maintenance capabilities? And this kind of skills are not being talked about, unfortunately, because most of the recruiters in the institutes have been IT centric. So therefore, many of them are getting carried away by the IT centricity. And as a result, the domain skills are forgotten. And the domain skills become, are even also lost in this, are also lost in the presentations.
What we're proposing actually is, for example, core skills are given. I mean, without that, an engineer is not an engineer. But this engineer is...
Unfortunately, that's grossly missing these days in many of the colleges.
True, but like, for example, let's take an ex-engineer who has core skills, excellent core skills. If he's a mechanical engineer, he knows, the machines and how to fix them. But he's going to face an interview. He fails to present those skills. These skills would remain inside the box. It's never going to come out.
Very rarely, I would put it this way. If he has trained himself to be good in domain, I'm sure the offshoots of domain, which would provide the communication skills, etc., would also be developed in most of the cases, with barring a few exceptions. Basically, that's for qualities, synonymous to quality.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, I'm not so sure of that, sir.
I beg to differ.
Because it doesn't happen, sir. It doesn't happen. You will have a lot of very talented...
Let me just narrate a quick experience, sir, with the greatest of respect to all institutions. I took 50 IIT Delhi students when Chandrayaan had been launched.
Okay, sir.
And I asked them a simple question. Do you have any idea how you can compute what path orbit Chandrayaan should take? Totally clueless. Totally clueless. That's the sense of skills we do not have. True.
Yeah, so it means that his actually domain knowledge, the physics he learned, the mathematics he learned, is for exam and not for really learning. So therefore, it proves that though they are from IITs, so their the domain knowledge.
True. The moral of the story is the core skills and the soft skills will have to join hands.
Yes.
Any one of these two skills on the higher end is not going to solve the problem. There has to be a proper amalgamation of the two. And if that needs to be done, we've been doing a lot of job there. We will be happy to do it for any university here. Thank you very much, Mr.